Cut the head off that thing. Okay, here we go. This is entropy. Well, I was a high school physics teacher. I realized at some point that I needed to understand pretty well what entropy was. But of course, the thing that everybody knows is that the second law of thermodynamics says that with every physical process, entropy increases. Entropy is basically often described as disorder or chaos. And what it basically means is that if you hammer a nail, for example, as the nail goes into the wood, it progresses into the wood, but in the process it shakes the molecules and jiggles everything, and the wood gets hot. Just by pounding a nail into wood, you create heat. The heat is the chaotic energy. The energy is turned into chaotic behavior of molecules that then is dissipated, and it causes a reduction in the available energy of the system. The principle of thermodynamics basically is, on the face of it, says that because every physical process results in an increase of entropy, that means that disorder and chaos increases, that the contained energy, the focused energy is lost and is dissipated to some extent, and the system will run down after a while. So the principal example, of course, is friction. If you spin a top, it slowly comes to a stop. So it occurs to a person, perhaps, how come anything is alive? How is it possible to have a physical system that doesn't run down and tip over like a top? Well, you say, well, look at the solar system. It keeps going around and around. Well, if there's no air, there's nothing to create friction. There's no interaction. Without interaction, there's no physical process, and there's no increase in entropy. So the solar system goes around and around, and eventually, in fact, stuff will happen, but we don't see it in our time span. But I still have this question. What is it about a living thing? Or what, you might ask the question this way. Is there a system that doesn't seem to run down? Living things, they go on. They keep doing stuff. Well, that's true. And the way that works in the face of the second law of thermodynamics is you have to keep feeding the system new energy. And so, sure enough, living things have to keep consuming energy in some form. They have to get energy from somewhere. And elaborate and marvelous systems have been set up to produce that energy. It's constantly being lost. Of course, the body heat and so forth. It's all, you can see it. And so what we're doing by being alive is we're living in a machine that's designed to sustain itself in the face of the second law of thermodynamics. When I parse that down closely, I come to the conclusion that that machine, that ability of this machine to not run down, at least for several years, eventually things catch up. Eventually the machine runs down. All living things die. But in the meantime, there's this miraculous experience of being in a complex functioning system, existing in it, even having this experience of feeling an identity with the machine that I live in. That's me. I call it me. And I have that experience. And there's either intuitively or directly, there is a sense that there's something miraculous sustaining that. And I think that that's what some people have come to call, it's life energy. I like that. It gets a little dicey when you start calling it God, which is one reason that my inclination is to leave aside the idea of God and see it as what I called an entropy, or reverse entropy. It's a real thing, apparently, but it's not been sort of widely interpreted by physicists.